Sony. I head the corporate communication for IndiGo. On behalf of IndiGo, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us for our press briefing today. It's a proud moment for all of us at IndiGo as we welcome one of the world's premier aviation events, the 81st IATA AGM in the heart of our country's capital, Delhi. The event returns to India after more than 4 decades, and it's a matter of immense pride for all of us, as we are not just the host airline, but IndiGo brought it to India. Today we give you a deeper insight into how IndiGo is contributing to India's aviation ascent. Our CEO, Mr. Pieter Elbers, also the chair of the Board of Governors of IATA, will take us through IndiGo's journey, our achievements, progress, and IndiGo's ambitious vision for the years to come. Following his presentation, we'll open the floor for Q&A session. We are very pleased to have you with us today. Thank you once again for being here, and we look forward to an engaging and insightful conversation together. Thank you so much. Now I invite Pieter to come on stage.
Good afternoon. Just checking if the mic is working. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the IndiGo media briefing today here afternoon. Thank you for joining us at this time. Actually, we have prepared a presentation and a Q&A afterwards, and we're still going to do that. But actually, before we do that, we thought it was a wonderful opportunity to make another and an additional announcement here in Delhi itself. And for those coming from overseas, welcome to Delhi. Welcome to India. We're, as Rashmi just said, extremely excited to have the AGM back in India after an absence of 42 years really, so this is a wonderful opportunity of having it here and showcasing the rest of the world what's happening in India at this point in time. I think we're gonna start with something else than the IndiGo update, what IndiGo all is doing, and can I ask Benoit from Elbers to join me here on stage. It was last year that IndiGo signed a deal with Elbers for buying 30 Airbus 350-900s with 30 firm and 70 purchase rights. And today we're confirming the intention to confirm 30 out of those 70 also into a firm order. We've recently started with wide-body operations. We're extremely excited about the progress. We can't wait for Airbus to deliver the 350s, and we thought this was a wonderful opportunity to actually double our firm orders from 30 to 60 and use the occasion here today where the whole world is gathering in Delhi itself for that occasion. We're going to sign an MOU for that, and we're going to sign that here, right here and now. Thank you. You can see what we're signing, but we know what's out there. Yeah. Yeah, here it is. Great moment for IndiGo and the next step in the development of our wide-body network from India. So Benoit, can I invite you to share a few words?
Well, thank you, Pieter, first. First of all, I want to say thank you. It's a great moment as well for Elbers, not just for IndiGo. You know, the amazing journey of IndiGo in India over the last 18 years is an inspiration to the world of aviation, and we are absolutely delighted at Elbers to have been your special partner since the inception, as I said, 18 years ago, and it's amazing to see where we are today. More than 1,300 aircraft have been ordered by IndiGo with Elbers. It's just staggering, and the additional 30 aircraft that you've just announced today will actually bring that tally. It was 1,370, now it's going to be 1,400. That's 30 aircraft, so thank you very, very much for that. As I said, 18 years ago, you started with A320, and you have, over the almost 2 decades, democratized travel in India, and now we're delighted to be part of the next stage of your extension, opening the network to the long haul with the XLR and the 350. And yes, just a year ago we were here in Delhi signing the first wide-body order with IndiGo, and we are so delighted to be doubling down with your announcement of your interest to exercise this additional 30 A350s. So we look forward to the next 2 decades, 3 decades of support and being at your side to make sure that this operation will be, and there's no doubt about that, a successful one for IndiGo going forward. Thank you very much, Pieter.
Thank you. Let's take one more here. This one. We're happy it's coming. Thank you. Yeah. Where's the clicker? Oh, there. Okay. Oh, it's fine. Fine. Good. Welcome to the IndiGo press conference, and those from the Indian media who were there Friday afternoon, you'll see a duplication, but I'm sure it never bores. The IndiGo story never bores, and the data on the growth and the potential is never boring. So the story of IndiGo cannot be disconnected from the story of India. And today, and therefore the timing of the IATA AGM here today in Delhi itself, is actually a very appropriate reflection. Earlier this week, India took over Japan as the 4th largest economy in the world, and India is clearly on its way to become the 3rd largest economy in the world by 2027. An extremely young population, and not only young, but also very ambitious population, and India leading the 4th industrial revolution. Importantly, and we know that middle class and air travel are closely linked to each other, so the enormous growth of the Indian middle class is a great opportunity for air travel. So if you see where India was 10 years ago, it was basically number 10 on the global GDP. Today it's grown up to number 4. And the population growth is still in the range of 12 million a year. That's the size of some European countries, including my country of origin, slightly more. So India is at the center of the world aviation today. The AGM is here. It has grown to the 3rd largest domestic aviation market, and IndiGo is a proud holder of the world's largest order book. Benoit, and thanks to Airbus, and let me cannot underline it enough, the strong collaboration and cooperation, both with the team of Airbus centrally, as well as the Indian team of Airbus here in India, helping us to make sure that that largest order book we have is translating into deliveries and translating into continued growth. So we still have a little short of 900 aircraft on order at Airbus. And people who think that that's a big number, look at where the world is today and what is the number of seats per capita in some of the other markets. And if you make that comparison, you just see that the growth for India is in fact just the beginning. And today, the 5th largest international outbound tourism market is also here. So if you compare, and I'll take that slide back here, if you compare China to India, when it comes to domestic market, it's about a factor 4. If you take to the international markets, it's a factor 2. So the growth potential really is still enormous here in India. So we have seen that actually, whereas some countries and some markets are still struggling to reach the levels which were there prior to COVID, the Indian aviation market is already 20% more today than it was prior to COVID. So a 20% growth. And again, compare that to some other countries in the world where people are still struggling to come back to levels prior to COVID. That number is expected to double by the end of this decade in around 2030. So 20% more today, and it's going to double going forward. And I must say, at IndiGo we're extremely proud. We used to have 78 million customers prior to COVID. Last year we closed with 118 million customers in a single year. The year prior we for the first time reached 100 million, and now we moved up to a total of 180 million customers last year. So let me reflect that also in a brief video.
This is India's moment. A bold, new India. A powerhouse that is the world's fastest growing nation. A country on its course to become the world's 3rd largest economic force by 2027. An India where ancient heritage and diversity meets cutting-edge technology. Where every Indian dares to dream and dream big. As the nation takes off, it is IndiGo that gives wings to the nation. Connecting people and aspirations. Today, we are the 7th largest in the world in daily flights and flew over 118 million customers last year, with more than 2,200 flights taking off daily. With that, we welcomed 1 million delighted customers every 3 days. And yet, we exceeded expectations with continued operational excellence. We elevated our customer experience through digital transformation, be it 6E Sky or booking via our website and app. With a network of over 130 destinations, our wings span across 90 plus domestic and 40 plus international destinations and 50 plus destinations worldwide with our strategic code share partnerships. We are not just expanding, we are breaking record with the single largest order of 500 aircraft. We've set a new benchmark in Indian aviation. That's not all. We placed an order for 30 Airbus A350 aircraft, marking our bold entry into the wide-body era. We are poised to reshape the future of Indian aviation. We redefined air travel for India by launching IndiGo Stretch, a tailored business product on our busiest routes, and introduced IndiGo Blue Chip, which in no time has soared to over 3 million members. Not just planes, we reach out with our hearts through our CSR initiatives. With one of the world's youngest fleets of fuel-efficient aircraft and e-buses, we ensure carbon-neutral progress. Every IndiGo cargo flight carries more than just packages. It fuels economic growth. We've sustainably democratized air travel, making flying accessible to all, and are passionately driven by girl power and diversity. With 220 plus PWD professionals steering us higher every day. From taking pride in being Indian to taking pride in being made in IndiGo. We are uplifted by the collective spirit of our 6E stars and the power of we. Passionately consistent, service from the heart, and delivering an always safe experience unfailingly. This is what IndiGo delivers without fail. yet we are a profitable airline with a network as ambitious and diverse as the country we serve. IndiGo doesn't just move people, it carries an ambitious nation forward. It is a promise etched in every flight towards new heights across new frontiers. This is India by IndiGo.
Thank you. So welcome to IndiGo. 18 years young, soon we turn 19 years. And if you look at this, we actually have achieved a lot of our milestones. Today, as I said, we welcome 180 million customers last year. We operate 2,300 flights a day, 130 destinations. Last year, and thanks to Elbers, we received 58 aircraft and we were the single largest taker of airplanes at Elbers. I'm very proud to be that. And for the first time, and we announced it 2 weeks back, we crossed the $10 billion revenue mark. So that, I think, is not a great achievement and milestone in the development of our company. So if you add it all up and you translate it how the network has grown, today 90% of the population of India, the world's largest population, is living within 100 kilometers of an IndiGo served airport. And that, in terms of air connectivity, even to all the remote parts of the country, is an important and very relevant asset. So as I shared it earlier, we're painting the sky blue by making more and more direct flights. And look how the network domestic has evolved and has grown between 2015 and 2025. Where at that time we had 21 destinations and around 100 routes. Today we have 91 domestic destinations and a little short of 500 direct routes served in India itself. But it doesn't stop there. We start to grow internationally as well. In 2015, that was still a very limited part of the IndiGo network. And even just prior to COVID, was still a very limited part. Over the last 3 years, we have expanded enormously international, and we have moved from roughly 20 international destinations to today already 41. By the time this presentation was made, it was 40. Today it's 41 international destinations, and 20 Indian cities are being connected directly to international points. And you see this network expanding, and I'm pretty sure in 3 years from now, when we show this picture on the screen, again you'll see more blue and actually a network which is stretching further and further. What I used in an earlier presentation is India is in a hurry, and so is IndiGo. So the opportunity for IndiGo to grow as part of the growing economy of India is a wonderful opportunity. And in fact, it works both ways. The growth of India helps to grow IndiGo, and IndiGo growth helps the Indian economy, especially in places outside the big metros. So with that, we've developed a very strong position, not only domestic, but increasingly international. And with that, and if you look at the geographical position of India, I think we have a wonderful opportunity if you realize that 65% of the world's population is living within a 5 to 6 hour flight from India. And today a lot of that connecting traffic is taking place at other parts of the world or at other regions, or at least at hubs outside the geographical scope of India itself. So the opportunity to start connecting those flows over India is just enormous. But it doesn't stop. If we look at the range, and Benoit was kindly saying the 321 XLR, we have an opportunity to further start building that. So the XLR will help us to further expand the range and give more range to the network we already operate today. And clearly with the 350 entering in 27, we have a new opportunity to further grow and further expand that part of the network. And in fact, and we get the question every now and then, what is your business model, and are you LCC or are you network carrier or full service carrier? I think if you have the size of IndiGo and you operate in a very specific market, as India is, we can just build our own model, and that's in fact what we're doing. Contrary to a classical LCC, IndiGo is operating from all the primary airports. And if you see our share of operation in places like Bangalore and Hyderabad, we have a very significant share. We have co-shares in place, and I'll come back to some of the announcements we made earlier today. Clearly we do cargo, we have a lot of corporate fares in place, and we announced last year IndiGo Stretch and IndiGo Blue Chip as part of the next step in our journey. So if you take that, actually we're very proud, and if you realize that every 3 days we welcome 1 million customers, every 3 days. And that in itself goes on and on and on and more and more. And that's all driven by a very strong IndiGo culture. We're very proud actually to have the highest number of female pilots in the world. 16% of our pilots are female pilots. We're equally proud to have such a significant number of people with disabilities working at different parts of our operation at the airport, and every now and then you may see them with a button where they say, I cannot speak, I cannot talk, but I'm very happy to help you. I think it's not only very touching, but also very important to have them being part of the society and the workforce. And again, every time I see it, I'm touched by it, and it's giving an enormous sense of pride for all the colleagues who are helping to get that organized. And clearly a strong commitment to the different communities out there. So if you take that, the next step in our journey is also the sustainability focus. With having the youngest fleet of airlines with more than 100 aircraft, we clearly have a very low emission basis. But next to the sustainability efforts, we do actually quite a bit on CSR. When it comes to heritage conservation, we work together with a couple of organizations in India to make sure that beautiful heritage sites have a good conservation. I think there's a huge opportunity. I think India has 42 World Heritage Sites, and to my view, there's no reason why that number could not be doubled over the years to come, looking at the wonderful heritage of India. And we work together with a couple of NGOs when it comes to skill development. And that, in fact, helps a lot of smaller communities, rural communities, to start their own business. And IndiGo is kind of helping with small funds as a kind of seed fund in order to build their own business, which is super exciting. It was shared in the video already. If the market is expected to double by the end of the decade, it means that also IndiGo wants to double towards the end of the decade. So the 100 million customers of today will go up to 200 million customers by 2030-ish. The planes in operation we have today will kind of double by 2030-ish. So it's really an important aspect. That means we will continue to add one aircraft each and every week for pretty much the next decade to come. And that in itself is an enormous increase, but also allows us to make deals with airports and arrangements with airports for long-term planning. It also allows us to make long-term planning for our training needs in terms of cockpit and crew and technicians and all the other facilities. So the long-term planning is extremely important, and these huge fleet orders have secured us from that planning going forward. So what's new in the year ahead? We're going to further grow our domestic network. We have 91 destinations today. That number is going up to 95. And clearly there comes a point where no more domestic destinations are to be added. And as I said earlier, already today 90% of the population of India is living within 100 kilometers of an IndiGo served airport. And if you translate that, those who are coming overseas, 18% of the world population lives here. 90% of that, 18%, lives within 100 kilometers of an IndiGo served airport. So if you translate that, it's pretty much one out of 8 people in the world lives close to an IndiGo served airport. And if you put that in perspective, it's really a fantastic number. So we're going to add 4 in Adhampur, and of course the 2 new airports in Delhi and Mumbai, which we're going to open in this year. And we keep the operations at the existing airports. So that brings the number of airports served from 91 to 95. International, today we have 41 destinations. We already have announced, and actually will start soon in the next month, our operations into Amsterdam and Manchester. We're going to add London, Copenhagen and Athens in Europe, Siem Reap in Cambodia, and we'll add another 4 destinations in Central Asia. So the network international will continue to grow from 40 to over 50 by year end with these new destinations. And clearly for London and Copenhagen, the Damply 787s, which we're having as a bridge towards the 350s, are arriving, is a good opportunity. And Athens is a great example how the XLR can start helping connecting India to parts of Europe which could not reach before. So this is our ambition for this year. Of course, there's a disclaimer subject to regulatory approvals from applicable authorities and availability of slots, but we are very confident that we'll get there, otherwise we would not have presented it here today. 2 other major events in India this year are going to happen. Second airport in Mumbai will open, and the second airport in Delhi will open. Noida International Airport it's in UP, but it still serves partly the Delhi catchment area. IndiGo has made very far-reaching agreements and announcements to be not only the launch carrier, but also start immediately with very significant operations from both airports. Navi Mumbai will have 14 international destinations right from the start. I'm not sure if there's any other airports in the world which it's opened as a second airport, immediately there will be a number of international destinations. We've done a lot in terms of product enhancement, as I shared with you. We started last year with the introduction of our IndiGo Stretch, the business product on the nation's busiest and business routes. It's operating now on 5 routes. Today it will go up to around 10. But seeing some of the experiences and the success it has, we've decided to accelerate the introduction of that product on some of the international routes. So in the year ahead, you will see it being introduced on Bangkok, Singapore, Phuket and Dubai. We'll have that exact same product on offer for our customers. Partnerships, we have already quite a significant number of partnerships. The latest of today is not included in this one yet. For those who were not there, we've announced today to have a deep collaboration with Virgin, Air France, KLM and Delta in terms of building our network and clearly connecting our flights from Amsterdam and Manchester into the networks across the Atlantic with Delta and KLM, and from Manchester to connect it to the network of Virgin beyond network. A very big and significant step for us, helping us to prepare for the future and helping them to connect better into India and offer the network already today to all these codeshare destinations they have. If you are an airline of the size of IndiGo and you become from a relatively small, low-cost domestic airline, to have your own MRO is a very important part. I think the abundance of talent and availability of talent in India should allow us to start building our own MRO shop here in India. So we do have 2 hangars today, one in Delhi and the other one in Bangalore, and we've signed up a deal with Bangalore Airport to take a big piece of land at the airport itself to further build strategic MRO capabilities here in India. It will take a bit of time before it's ready. You cannot develop these facilities overnight, but an extremely important part of the journey that by the time we are at 2030 and we have wide-body aircraft, we have doubled in fleet size, we also have our own MRO capabilities. And I must say I'm deeply impressed by the quality of our teams doing that work each and every day, and the amount of energy, but also the amount of capabilities we're developing here to do in-house repairs, not to send it overseas or to other places. I think the opportunity there for India is enormous. Again, a lot of parts of the world are having challenges with not only supply chain, but even people. I think here in India, the amount of talented and motivated young people wanting to take a career in MRO is really fantastic and a great opportunity. So we continue to build going forward. This is a kind of summary slide of all the things we have just announced. A lot of focus on the network, move from 91 to 95 domestic, 41 to 51 international. The products expansion, not only domestic, but also from Delhi and or Mumbai to these 4 international destinations. Clearly the 787s, which are starting into Amsterdam and Manchester by the end of the month. We'll have also product enhancement, including hot meals. And then we clearly have the partner development. This was shared earlier this week. It's been adjusted now, clearly with the announcement with Delta, Virgin, Air France, KLM. We have a reciprocal code-share with Japan Airlines, and clearly we move on the MRO side. So a lot of exciting stuff going on in the year ahead, and basically today an opportunity for us to share with you what all are we doing and what are the plans for the year to come. So if you see how that nicely comes together, it is in fact different pieces of the puzzle which come together in an orchestrated way. So it starts with building our network and internationalization. We've enhanced our product, we signed up arrangements with airports, we're constructing our own MRO here, and we have expanded our partner network. So these announcements over the last days and weeks are not just random kind of things we do, but part of a very cohesive strategy, because the ambition for IndiGo is by 2030, IndiGo is a global airline, move from a domestic airline into a global airline, and that's all these pieces here are part of that very same puzzle to make sure that by 2030 we have that representation on a global scale. So with that, we continue to serve the Indian market, which still has millions and millions of first-time flyers. If you see to the numbers shared earlier, the number of seats per capita in China is 4 times as much as it is in India. So with a similar population. So the opportunity to continue to build on that basis is enormous. We're going to do that. Aspirational travelers, where we have our business product Stretch and have our loyalty program Blue Chip, is a very important part, nicely coming together, and clearly internationalization as a key cornerstone of all the things we're doing. So with that, we feel very confident that we can continue to serve India by IndiGo as our sort of punchline in what we are doing and who we are and what we represent eventually. And with that, I'll give the floor back to Rashmi, and thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Peter. This is clearly India's time and this is IndiGo's time. So with that, we start the Q&A session. We have 15 minutes and please raise your hand, introduce your name and your publication as the mic reaches you.
Thank you. It's Adrian Schofield with Aviation Week. Regarding the new order, can you tell us when the MOU may be converted to a firm order, and also what's the delivery timeline for this follow-on order?
Now we have the initial 30 ordered, which we ordered last year. They're starting in 27, and they will go to the earlier part of the next decade, obviously, and this next batch of 30 will start in that earlier part. Actually, when the previous ones will be finished, this one will continue. And that will bring us well into the second half of the next decade.
And when might you firm the order?
As soon as we're ready. But if we would not have any confidence in that, we wouldn't have put it out for announcement here today.
Yes, hello. Pieter de Jong, Daily Telegraph, the Netherlands. On your elaboration in Europe, Schiphol, they want to lower the cap of Schiphol. How would you cope with that after your start from July 1st?
I'm not sure I understand the question. They want to lower the fares, and how do we do that?
No, the cap. Lower the cap.
Oh, lower the cap.
Of movements.
You know, I think there's enough confidence on our side. That's exactly why we have applied for slots. That's why we have obtained slots to start the operation into Schiphol. And looking at the air service agreement, there's plenty of room on the Indian side to operate into Amsterdam. The number of operations on the European side as compared to the Indian side is not totally balanced. So I think there's an opportunity for us to keep growing that, and we have every confidence that we get that slots also for the timings going forward.
Hi Peter, this is Rohan from the New Indian. I have a very quick question. You mentioned about 2015 statistics and 2025. What do you think is responsible for this surge in IndiGo's traffic from these cities that we have connected? Is it the infrastructure or the new airports that have emerged in India since 2015?
Now, if you see how India is developing, and the fact that the growth is taking place in Delhi and Mumbai and Hyderabad and Bangalore, that's pretty obvious, right? But there's a lot of other places, and you know, we fly from Deoghar to Durgapur, and we connect all these cities nowadays to different parts of the country. We see an immediate uptake of air travel. And whereas in the past, if you were to travel from Gwalior to Chennai or from Gwalior to Goa, it would take you, what, 3 days by train, 2 days minimum by train. Today it takes you a couple of hours, including a connection, if not a direct flight. So the opportunity for us to build that network and to have parts of people who used to travel days and days by trains and now having them in planes is just an enormous opportunity. That's one. Two, the growth of the economy. We've seen all over the world where, especially in developing economies which are still not at sort of in a mature stage, the opportunity of air travel is there. We've seen it, probably if you take a step back, what happened 3 decades ago in the US, what happened 2 decades ago in Europe, what happened a decade ago in China is happening now in India. So when you speak about it's India's time, this growth of the economy and the propensity for people to start spending, not only domestic but also international, I think that is driving this growth, and therefore the opportunity for us to build on that, and we're very confident that with the growth of 1 plane a week we can continue to build that traffic basis.
Hello Peter, this
Hi.
is Dina Khan.
from the National in Abu Dhabi. I'm just curious about your plans to expand further in the Middle East as part of your plans to grow your international group network. And then just following from that, how do you see competition with your peers such as Fly Dubai or Fly Adil, who also have ambitions for wide-body aircraft and expanding internationally?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. And I'm sure you're aware of that. We have recently expanded actually quite a lot to Abu Dhabi in particular. I've added, I think, from 4 or 5 Indian cities we have moved into Abu Dhabi. If you take Abu Dhabi, I think we have pretty much doubled in capacity over the past 3 years. And you see just that growth. And when I joined IndiGo a little over 3 years back, we had our very first flight into the sort of bit of the beaten track. More recently, we have started Fujairah. So the opportunity to also fly to other parts in the Middle East is still there. We speak a lot about the European expansion and all the but the integration of the economies and the sort of correlation between the economies is there, that we continue to expand. And again, Fujairah operated both from South India as well as from Mumbai is providing a new connection. So we continue to build on that. Competition, if more airlines are choosing to build up their networks in the Middle East, that's a fact of life, and competition is a good thing. We feel confident that with the huge Indian market we're having and the non-stop opportunities we can start providing to our customers, that's enormous. And it's not only, I was mentioning Athens, but the example I use quite frequently actually. We started the operation from Mumbai into Nairobi a year and a half back. That can only be done from Mumbai, given the distance. By the time the XLR is here, we can do it from Delhi also, or from other parts, or from Ahmedabad. So if you look at the Indian community in West Africa, it could be nicely connected directly. The same goes in the other direction for Bangalore. So the opportunity to have direct connections, and clearly, especially in the region, that's a huge opportunity. And you saw on the map that today we connect 20 Indian cities international. So I would see a setting whereby the flights to Europe and the flights to the wide body operation will be more concentrated. But the narrow body operation has a wonderful opportunity. If you fly from Amritsar to Chennai, the flying time is pretty much the same, or actually longer, than from Mumbai to Abu Dhabi. So the opportunity for us to keep building that network is enormous.
Hi, Chris Chamberlain from Point Hacks in Australia, down the front. I just wanted to ask on your plans for Australia. In your slide with the range of the A350, I note that it is capable of going as far as India to Australia non-stop. You have a limited partnership with Qantas currently, which is mainly centred on code sharing, but do you see that growing to have a more integrated partnership, things like earn and burn, and your own method flights to Australia?
Specifically for Australia, thank you for asking that. It's a reminder for me that I should have pointed out that one. But if you look for Australia, first of all, it has a huge Indian diaspora as well in Australia itself. And secondly, and that's how we started to prepare for that, you say we have a limited partnership with Qantas. I would say we have actually a very advanced partnership. Because what we do is we fly from 9 cities in India into Singapore. And from Singapore, we connect to the network of Qantas going into Australia, which is a great opportunity for both parties to start developing. And it's, I would say, and I should give all the credits to the IndiGo team developing that, it's creating a hub outside your own country in terms of connecting that. But clearly the objective, like some of the steps we have taken, is at one point in time, either with the XLR, which can probably not from Delhi, but from the south of India, it will have a range which at least reaches Australia, and obviously with the 350s there. So, if I speak about becoming a global aviation operator, and the market between Australia and India is there, clearly we would have a very serious look at direct flights with 350s to Australia as well.
Hi Peter, Justin from Breaking Travel News. Congrats on reinventing the playbook, it's really inspiring. Behind you is a sign that says India by IndiGo. How do you think about IndiGo redefining its identity as you're making this shift from being an LCC to a global player with premium offerings and international ambitions?
Yeah. I would challenge you to take a domestic flight on IndiGo Stretch, our business product, and compare it to pretty much any operator in Europe, and compare the two business class products with each other. And then have a fair comparison between the two products. I think we're having a product which very much fits for purpose, which helps us to establish a good position also in that segment. But at the very same time, we only do that on the routes where it's needed. And there's a whole set of routes in India where people just want to fly as cheap as possible, as quick as possible, and on time. And I think the customer promises of IndiGo, on-time performance, courteous and hassle-free, and affordable fares will remain to be there. And I think the opportunity for us is we have seen what happened at other parts of the world, where kind of, you have to be either this or that. I don't think we have to do that. We have a size and a scale that by the end of this calendar year, we'll be having 45 aircraft which have the stretch configuration. That's the size of some airlines in itself. And that for us is a sub-fleet on that specific route. So I don't see that as a disadvantage. So we can actually address all these different market segments. So the vision going forward is we continue to build on the foundation of IndiGo. India's home and the Indian market has a certain set of requirements to operate, and that has IndiGo made extremely successful and efficient. But on top of that, India is also changing, and therefore we're adding the loyalty program, we're adding selective business class on certain routes, and we see it now in international. And we started the wide-body operation to Bangkok with a premium offering. It's doing very well. And that's the Indian market. The next step, and that's to your point, is we should make sure that we have a higher recognition and understanding outside. And that's exactly now for Amsterdam and Manchester where we're going to start. But it's not impossible. We did the same in Singapore. We had, when I joined 3 years back, we only had 3 Indian destinations connecting to Singapore. That was mostly Indians booking in India and going to Singapore. Today, with a network of 9 Indian cities, we see that we have a huge point of sale from Singapore itself as well. So I'm very confident that by the time our network is in place and by the time we have that product, our product can compete with everyone. We don't have flat beds, that's true. But if you don't have 18 flat beds, that doesn't mean that the rest of the aircraft cannot be competitive. So I think we have a product which is extremely fit for purpose, both for the Indian market, but very much so also for the other markets we will operate in.
Okay, we have time for last 2 questions, and we have people in the queue. So, yes.
Yeah. Ranveer Nair from Media India Group. A couple of questions for you. First is about, do you have any plans to go to North America, and by when will that be realized? Second is that in your presentations, I didn't really catch anything about sustainable aviation fuel. Is IndiGo on that path, and by when would you start using, and if you have made any kind of commitments?
Okay. When it comes to North America, for a long time we did not have the aircraft even able to reach. By the time the 350 come, we can reach it. So that question to some extent is not so relevant between today and 27. I'm not ruling out anything, but what is important actually is that you need to walk before you run. And IndiGo is building up, and probably building on the previous thing, IndiGo is building up its position. The partnership we announced today with Delta, Virgin Atlantic, Air France, KLM, will help us also to get more brand awareness in that market. And if Delta, which is a high quality airline, decides that it's good to put their customers on IndiGo, in the same way as Japan Airlines has decided it, and today we have 15 or 20 co-shares with Japan Airlines here. They come, they check, they're extremely delighted about the product, and they work with us. So we're going to build it in the same way, and then by 27 or 28, we'll see what to do at that point in time. When it comes to SAFs, today, as you know, in India, there's no SAF available. I think there's still a lot of discussion globally whether SAF is the solution and what's the uptake and how realistic are some of the expectations in terms of SAF. We are clearly committed to have the emissions as low as possible, and our young fleet would really help. And I think going forward, we'll need to find a way how to address the situation. But it's more an industry and a global challenge rather than a challenge for IndiGo on its own.
Last question.
Hi Peter, this is Aishwarya from NDTV Profit.
Hi.
First question on Navi Mumbai International Airport, you mentioned 14 routes. What are the destinations that we're talking about? And it's of a personal interest to me because I am from Navi Mumbai, so we would love to know that. And domestic destinations also, if you could talk about. And my second question is...
No, we have time only for one question, sorry.
Bring it on.
Thank you.
Bring it on.
Thank you.
Because I'm going to answer the first one very short. So.
Yes. The second one, on your pact with Turkish Airlines, the government has given a deadline for about 3 months to end the deal. So what alternative plans have you put in place, and any projected loss due to this hurdle?
Okay, now I regret giving you the second question.
I'm so sorry, but I know you're a sporty leader.
No, but I think the answer is in the phrasing of the question, your second question. There has been a government decision, and will of course be compliant with the government decision. So that means we have the coming month to find a solution for the customers which were booked. The extension helps us, of course, to have more time to get that addressed, and we'll look how to address it and how to incorporate it. So, and we still have time for the next few months to do that. When you go to your very first question, it's always a bit of a challenge. I think we had a fantastic news for the past couple of days in terms of, we're going to build an MRO facility in Bangalore. We made a breaking agreement with Navi Mumbai to be the first airline. We signed up now today for more 350s. We have announced a very specified set of 4 new domestic and 10 new international destinations. We're going to move for Stretch International. And yes, we haven't disclosed everything yet. There should be something for the next time too. So in the weeks to come, we'll disclose exactly what destination is going to fly. I think you and I know that we still need to figure out what's the exact date of start of the operation itself, so we keep some flexibility. But when it opens, we'll have that set of destinations ready. Yep.
Thank you, everyone. Pieter, now I invite you to give the concluding remarks.
Thank you. I did it kind of in the closing of the last question. Thank you so much for being here with us. Again, we're extremely excited having the IATA AGM here and have the opportunity to showcase the world how India is changing and how the Indian aviation will change to a global landscape. And extremely proud, and let me close on that, on the 60,000 IndiGo colleagues, 40,000 at the main line itself, 20,000 at our ground handling organization. And giving wings to the nation is not only to all our customers, but it's also very much to all the colleagues who are working at IndiGo with us. And to that, let me have a small closing video before we all leave.
In a country of 1.4 billion, how far can a dream take you? India has always been a land of dreamers. Big ones, bold ones. The kind of dreams that keep you awake at night, and the kind that fuel your fire each morning. And over the years, we haven't just chased them. We've made them our reality. Not too long ago, we were dialing up the internet. Now 5G, it fits right in our pockets. From chalkboards to touchscreens, we didn't just move ahead, we took off. And as the nation reached for the skies, IndiGo was right there, being the wind beneath its wings. Family reunions that once took months now, they're just a flight away. India moved faster and hearts grew closer because every flight carries ambitions, destinies, and the dreams that shape our future. A singer holding her future in a guitar case. A mother on her first ever flight to visit her son. As India built smart cities, highways, and unicorn startup, we made sure the skies weren't left behind. From a handful of aircraft to a growing fleet, we've come a long way. And now to being India's largest airline, one takeoff at a time. Because if India keeps moving, so do we. So, how far can a dream take you? The boy whose head was in the clouds now shapes aircrafts, ready to soar through them. once folded paper planes. Today, she greets customers aboard real ones. The girl who once never turned off her lights now turns on the engine of the flight.
Clear for takeoff, runway 09 is right. I fly 875.
We are here to give wings to the nation by connecting people and aspirations. So here's to every dream that took off, every journey that brought us closer, and every mile still waiting to be crossed. Buckle up, India. IndiGo isn't just an airline. It's the spirit of the nation. The sky has no limits. And this is just the beginning. India by IndiGo.
Thank you so much, and I wish you a wonderful day, Gia.